Welcome to Today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford. Expert advice on improving your home. From remodeling contractor Danny Lipford and the home improvement pros from Today's Homeowner magazine.
Welcome to the show this week. You know, one thing we get a lot of requests for is information on storage ideas, ways to maximize the space you have available in your home. Well, this week we'll look at 3 different areas of the home: the laundry room, the clothes closet, and the kitchen area, and talk with a professional organizer on how to really maximize that space you have available. Now, don't go anywhere. Let's get organized. Welcome back to the show. Now, we have professional organizer Lee Donald with us, who's really going to help these homeowners out with a number of problem areas they have in their home. The first problem area, the laundry room. Take a look at this.
Oh, wow.
Needs a little work in here.
This is a usual laundry room.
Now, how do you approach something like this? I mean, you know, you have stuff cluttered all over the cabinets there, all over the washer and dryer. How do you get started on this?
You talk to the homeowner and you determine what their laundry needs are. For this particular homeowner, they need more hanging space, and they also need to adjust their hanging space.
Yeah, I can see that's just really too high. It needs to go down a little bit so that things aren't hanging on it, I guess.
Yes, and one of the things that they were interested in was including the children in the laundry process.
Okay.
So that will be very helpful to lower this rod so the children can actually reach the rod when they remove items from the dryer to put on a hanger and hang up. They can reach it. So what we'll do is we will remove this cabinet. I would recommend removing this cabinet as well. You can see that there's not a lot in this cabinet, so that they won't lose a lot of storage space here. But with this cabinet, quite a bit of storage space will be lost.
Now, how will you compensate for that? I guess we need some shelving in here somewhere.
Sure we do, and I think we can go up.
Okay.
So adding 1 or 2 shelves at the top to hold these things that are coming out of this cabinet would be very helpful. And then building some shelving all the way to the floor so that the children can actually participate in the laundry. If the laundry detergent is down here so that they can reach it, it will be much easier for them to take the detergent out and pour it in the washing machine to start a load of clothes.
Okay, all right. What about folding space? I mean, with that being gone, the only flat area you'll really have, the homeowners will have in this laundry room is just the top of the dryer. Is that enough folding space?
For this family, yes it is, because the only things that they really fold are towels and washcloths and things like that. It will depend on each individual family as to how much folding space they need.
Okay, all right. Well, I can see that that'll certainly solve a lot of problems here, but let me show you a closet. Now, Lee, there's really not a lot of room to work with in this closet.
It's a fairly typical situation.
Well, they've made a little bit of an effort to be a little more organized with a belt rack and tie rack, but I kind of like these paper bags, how they have those labeled. What do you think of that?
I think they get an A for effort.
But there's a better alternative, I'm sure.
Of course there is, and using clear plastic containers is always better than using a paper bag that you can't see through.
Okay, all right. What are some of the other things that they need to do in this closet? There's clothes laying around, there's kind of a menagerie of things here. What are some of your suggestions?
Of course they need more hanging space. You know what a proponent I am of more hanging space.
Okay, all right.
So I would either add more hanging space here and more hanging space here by removing these top shelves, only the top ones, and then add shelving here, here, and here to create more shelving for the shoes.
Okay, yeah, that'd be a lot better than stacking all of the shoes on top of each other like that.
It would reduce the amount of effort it takes to remove the shoes and put them back. Another option is to remove the entire unit and put the entire unit over on this side of the closet and run the hanging all the way across.
Okay, so I can see you can pick up several more feet of hanging space there. What are some of the simple things that could be done in a closet like this?
Well, if you'll notice, down here, there are quite a few different kinds of hangers that are being used. This kind of hanger that's used is not a very good hanger because it bends so easily. It cannot hold heavy clothing. This type of hanger is sometimes difficult to use because they break very easily. The plastic part breaks here.
Yeah.
My favorite kind of hanger to use, and one which keeps clothes spaced properly in a closet, is this plastic tubing. And when you notice that you hang the tubed hangers across. They keep the clothes spaced properly all the way in the closet. So standardizing hangers in a closet is a very important thing to do to make a closet better organized.
And you can even color code them if you need to.
Yes, you can.
Well, you've given us some great ideas, and I'm anxious to really implement some of these for the homeowners, and we'll do just that after our simple solution.
Get ready to review your Fix-It list as Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine repair and maintenance editor Joe Truini show you this week's simple solution. Brought to you by Dodge.
Anytime you're installing a ceramic tile floor, any type of new flooring, there's a certain amount of preparation that you have to do to the existing subfloor. Now here on this concrete slab, we removed the old vinyl floor, scraped off all of the glue, a little bit of floor patch here and there. Now we're looking at a little preparation on the existing trim work.
In this case, Danny, where we're installing the ceramic tile floor up against the door casing, a lot of homeowners make the mistake of thinking they need to trim the tile to fit the door casing. In actuality, you do just the opposite, and here's how. First, slip a few sheets of newspaper down in front of the casing, and then put a tile upside down so you don't scratch the surface. And you can use a handsaw to trim the casing to length. Hold the fingers flat on top of the saw so it cuts nice and straight. Slip out that little piece, and the tile will slide right underneath.
Now this is a concrete slab. If you were working with a wood subfloor, you would need to first put down cement backer board and then install the tile over it. In that case, use a piece of the backer board as the spacer instead of the newspaper. Either way, you get a good finished appearance. Then you're able to take your baseboard and sit it right down on top of your new ceramic tile floor. Well, we're doing exactly what Lee had recommended in the laundry room in removing both the base cabinet and the wall cabinet and crown molding as well as the base molding and all of the old closet rods and shelving that were in place. And we're also taking a recommendation on building the nice shelf unit here. And we had our carpenters build this outside using pre-primed and pre-painted wood so that very little painting will be needed inside. Actually, they're bringing it in now. Once we get this into place, it'll really compensate for all of the space and shelving space that we've lost by removing the other cabinets. Now after he secures this well to the wall, we'll be ready to start on our closet rods and our other shelving. Before we put up the new shelving, we're going to install the crown molding, base, and shoe molding that terminated where the old cabinets were removed. Now fortunately, the brick flooring continues under the cabinet, so we didn't have to patch the floor. The higher shelves start by placing a 1x2 ledger along the wall. This will support the back edge of the shelf and give us something to nail the shelf boards to later. We're leveling the bottom of the shelf to the top of the door casing so that this shelf will pass just above the doorway, the built-in ironing board, and our lower shelf unit. Now out in the garage, the guys cut some of the corbels or shelf supports out of 1x12 shelf material. Now these corbels are nailed or screwed to the wall, and we're ready to set the shelves on top. If you have access to one, a nail gun really speeds up this process of driving and setting the nails, since it does both in one quick step. The hanging rod's on top attached to the 1x2 ledger, but the bottom rod goes only part of the way across to allow the space we talked about for the long hanging items. Now we're mounting a support for that end a foot or so off the wall, while the other end is attached to the 1x4 cleat we're mounting to the wall. Now the biggest job in the clothes closet is removing the existing shelf unit. Now this unit is attached to both the wall behind the unit and the shelf above, so the guys really have to take care not to damage it or the wall as they remove the unit. Now the unit is lifted into place in the new location, and my carpenters, George and Dennis, make sure it's level and plumb before they screw it in place. Fortunately, we're right on top of two studs here. Now the shelf dividers that Lee recommended go in easily and quickly double the available space for shoes. We're also adding another shelf above the window to take full advantage of the space available in this clothes closet. Well, all the alterations are complete here in the laundry room as well as the closet. All we need is just a little bit of touch-up painting and the homeowners will be able to move back into these areas. We'll show you both of these areas before the end of the show. Now next, after our best new product of the week, we'll show you how we recently helped another homeowner with storage problems they're having in another part of their home, the kitchen.
It's time to check out this week's best new product with Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine Editor-in-Chief, Paul Spring. Brought to you by the Home Depot.
I have many homeowners that ask me about installing wood ceilings in their home, say a room like a sunroom or a game room, but it can get fairly expensive.
It can, Danny, and that's the reason that this heritage plank ceiling was born, according to the Armstrong folks. Now, we picked this as a best new product because it's a real problem solver, and the first problem it solves is the high cost of wood ceilings. It's about $1.25 a square foot, so it's not expensive. It also allows you to put what amounts to a wood ceiling over a problem ceiling, like plaster that's always cracking, or a popcorn ceiling. Both are things that you'd like to be able to cover, but because it's lightweight, you can do it yourself, and it's relatively inexpensive.
Okay, what about doing it yourself? How hard is the installation on it? It seems like it would be fairly easy being so lightweight.
It is. With an existing ceiling, all you're doing is really stapling it to the ceiling. You can put a little construction adhesive on the back, and that'll give you even more tack to hold it up there. And it's a matter of just joining the two tongue and grooves like this. Now, if you stagger the joints like that and continue to do that on the ceiling, it gives a very realistic look.
Well, I see that it comes already primed. What about painting in a different color?
Any color paint you can put on there. You can also stain it with this deep embossing. It gives a really warm wood look. Okay,
good. So you said about $1.25 a foot. So
exactly.
An average 15 by 20 room, less than $400.
Exactly right.
Great product. Now everybody's looking for ways to maximize the storage space they have available in their kitchen, particularly if you have a smaller kitchen like this one. And one area that's rarely utilized to the extent it should is the base cabinet inside corner. Now there's just so much space that's available there, but it's just not being utilized in this case. Well, we're going to change that by installing a cabinet accessory called a Lazy Susan. That's a rotating double shelf unit that we can install to really utilize that space. Now another area that many people are not utilizing are their base cabinets like this, that there's no shelf in here, so the upper part of this cabinet is just not being utilized. Now the homeowners in this case wanted to be able to hide away their trash can, so we're going to install another accessory that's a roll-out trash can in this side, and then to compensate for the space they're losing, we're going to put a double roll-out unit on this side so that it can accommodate all of the groceries they have. And we'll start out by getting rid of all of the groceries in this area as well as in the corner. Now the first cabinet accessory we'll install is the double-tiered roll-out trays. You can see how effective it'll be with the two roll-out trays that fit inside the assembly. Plenty of groceries will be able to be accommodated by these two trays. Now most of the time these type of accessories come already assembled, like our trash can rack that we'll install in a few minutes, but this one's going to require a little bit of time to put it all together. Okay, now that the main framework is assembled, we can go ahead and mount this in the cabinet. Then we'll put our basket runners together and install those. Now when you install this in the cabinet, you want to set it back far enough to where it won't hit the door. So I'm going to go back 3/4 of an inch and lining that up, and then line it up just in the center of the front opening. Of course, before you go to the home center to buy these accessories, you really need to measure real closely the width and the depth you have to work with. There, that's ready, and it has a little stop in it to keep it from falling out onto the floor, so that should work well. That closes, so we're ready to move to our trash can. Now, it has a similar roll-out type mechanism, but this is already assembled. All you have to do on this one is really put it in place and then square it up in the opening and make sure that it's far enough back that the door won't hit it. There we go. Okay. Now Now that's it. That's all there is installing this. Rolls fine. Drop the garbage can in, and the storage problems are solved on this cabinet. Now it's time for the Lazy Susan. Now the Lazy Susan comes in a kit and it's very easy to assemble. It involves the 2 rotating shelves and then a bracket that mounts on the bottom, one on the top, and then a telescoping pole that goes between the 2 pivot points, and then of course some screws and a bracket to attach the actual shelf to the vertical rod. But the reason it comes broken down like this is so that you can get it back in the cabinet. Now I've taken out the drawers here to give me a little more working room as well as a little more light in there, but the majority of the work takes place inside the cabinet. You start by laying one of the round shelves on the bottom of the cabinet and mark the center hole. Then attach the bottom pivot bracket. Assemble the vertical support rod and insert it into the bottom pivot bracket. Level the rod and mark and install the top pivot bracket. Put the bottom shelves in place and reinstall the vertical rod and extend it up into the top pivot bracket and tighten the set screw. Now raise the shelves to the desired heights and tighten down. Well, the Lazy Susan really made a difference in this corner. Be able to get a lot more storage out of that. Also, all of the groceries we took out of this base cabinet all fit back in and are a lot more organized than they were before. And when the homeowners are throwing away that trash, well, it's tucked away nice and neat in this cabinet. Now there's various type of accessories that are available at your home center, but remember, measure carefully before you go to the home center so that you're buying just what will fit in your existing cabinets. Now if you utilize some of these ideas, your kitchen space will be a lot more efficient.
Now let's go outside for Around the Yard with Danny and lawn and garden expert Barbara Katz.
You know, sometimes I just find it really therapeutic to get out into the yard and do some raking. It's good exercise and it's also peaceful.
Well, do you think you have enough rakes here?
Well, I thought I'd just bring a couple different ones to show you that there's a different rake for different purpose in the garden.
Well, this is my old favorite here. Out in my yard, I'm able to keep it nice and clean, but what's the difference here between the two?
Not a whole lot, Danny. This is just a little broader, so this is great for a lawn. If you've got an area where you've got gravel or a stone path, this is a super rake for that.
Well, this is one that we use a lot here around on the construction sites. Steel rake, some people call it a bow rake. We use it all the time for, leveling out our ground before we pour concrete or after a project's finished to rake around it. Works pretty good.
Well, I use that when I'm working in garden beds and I'm trying to prepare the soil. I can just throw my amendments over the surface, use this to rake it in. It's great for grading.
And you even have one here for the kids, I see.
I do, Danny. I brought that for your daughters.
Oh, great.
But actually, what this is what you call a shrub rake or shrubbery, and it's fantastic for an area where you got a lot of plants, perennials, shrubs. You need to get in there real carefully and get the things out. It's a super rake for areas
I can
like
see where that would be real useful for that, and if I had 3 of them, I could get those kids really helping us out on that. But,
oh, yes, you could.
But if you think it's so therapeutic, well, it's cheaper than a psychiatrist, right? Organizing your home is a great feeling, and now that the homeowners have moved back in to the laundry room, you can really see a big difference. The shelf unit that was built and the new plastic containers the homeowners purchased makes it easy to find everything and makes everything very accessible. Also, the upper shelving that we installed more than compensates for the cabinet sections we removed. Also, the extra closet rods provide all the hanging space the homeowners really wanted in this laundry room. Even a thing as simple as the little shelf that was built here above the washer and dryer makes all of this easy to get to. Now, in the clothes closet, a big improvement was realized there with the relocation of the shelf unit to the other side of the closet. Also, the additional rods here bring the total footage of rods to over 24 feet in a closet that's only 6 feet by 6 feet. The large plastic storage containers also help to keep this closet clutter-free. The homeowners found a canvas shoe organizer for the back of the closet that'll free up several of the shelves that are available. Even a thing as simple as the clothes hooks helps out. Now, I hope you enjoyed this week's show, and hey, why not get organized in your storage areas? I'm Danny Lipford. We'll see you next week here on Today's Homeowner.